Tony Hawkins has got a podcast. I hope he's better at this than he is washing the kit, because he was fucking useless.
And we will start again then.
Start
So
again.
37.
If we're going to start again, I'm going to go get my earphones and then I won't bore Ash with all of my talk of football. Gee, listen to music. 1 second.
Right, yeah. Number 37.
37.
As you may have heard there, Sam, ex of MK Shop Swanton, has gone to get his headphones. So 37 is what, John?
Yeah, it's a lot of podcast tone, I know that.
And it's a prime number.
It's a prime number. I was waiting for you to say that. We're still doing prime numbers, Sam.
Isn't it also Dylan Asungani's squad number?
Is it really? What do you think,
Yeah, I
John?
believe it is actually, yeah.
Yeah, see, I just remember stuff like that now.
Yeah. Yeah, Dylan Aston. Yeah, it is his number. So, yeah, well played.
He's a little protege on my football manager. I tried doing it with Wigan, was horrendous. Did it with MK Dons, got promoted the first season.
Yeah,
And I've now got Rivaldo as my director of football. So.
Because there won't be any clubs left for anybody to go to, I don't think. So
No, well...
Where are you,
luckily-
Sam? In Wigan. Are you still in Wigan then, yeah?
Still in Wigan, yeah. I went home for 3 or 4 days. But when this was all brewing, Wigan were due to be away to Huddersfield, and a few of us had organised to go to the game as a bit of a knees up.
Yeah.
But then, that was week before. No, sorry, yeah. Then I came home because we kind of realised that the football had been cancelled for the foreseeable future. So I went home for a couple of days, and then my sister, who's a midwife, had said to me, "This isn't, we're going to be in a lockdown very soon." So I came back up on the Sunday because I didn't really want to leave the house empty for a long time and all that kind of stuff. And so I came back up, and then I came back up on the Sunday. Then the Monday the lockdown came in. So, but I mean, like I said, I'm still working. Wigan's retail is very sought after, as it appears. We've sent to 10 different countries in the last 4 weeks.
Oh.
So we're doing well online. I'm busy, which is good. So yeah, no, it's not bad. It's championship football, I suppose. It's got a bit of a bigger pull factor, but
where are Wigan in the championship?
Wigan are 19th, I believe. We were bottom bottom. We were in the bottom 3 for must have been about 8 weeks straight, from Christmas straight through. And then all of a sudden, in what appears to be true Wigan form, we went to Leeds and we won. Went to West Brom and we won. From games that we couldn't stop goals going in, we stopped them, and then we were unbeaten in 7, I think it was, and we had the best form of our life, and then someone ate a bat.
Yeah.
So it all kind of ground to a halt. But I think in terms of football and my kind of employment, I think I'm in a win-win situation, because if the football is void, then we're going to guarantee another season in the Championship, and Dons are confirmed another football season in League One, even though you don't need that now.
No, I'm not sure about that.
And then if it's the other way and they carry on playing, which is what I hope, but only if it's feasible and it's actually safe.
So what do you think is more likely then? The season completely voided and done away with, or call it over?
I've been speaking to a lot of people with relatively respectful in the football world.
Yeah.
Initially, it was categorically not happening. That there's no way that the country can feasibly keep football going and not have a backlash from using all NHS resources and so on.
Yeah.
And then now it's more of a if, buts, and maybes, and possible and whatever. But to me, I personally can't see it happening. That's just my personal opinion. I don't see how we can have a country that's already at its breaking point in terms of resources and then go and ship out ambulances, paramedics, and on standby at grounds. I just don't see how it's going to happen. I think the Premier League will, because money talks with them, unfortunately, and if not, they're going to have to pay back a lot of money. But for me, if you got to do it for one, you got to do it for all of them. But Man United is different to Macclesfield, so who knows? I think it will. I think it will carry on. I think they'll find a way that I think at least the Premier League and the Championship will continue.
But what if it doesn't? Will it be voided, or do you think it will be called it?
I think now the problem is we are behind, not only as the pandemic, but as an FA making decisions. Because we are further behind Spain and Italy and France in terms of the peak of it, we're now at the same in terms of football. So we have less of a time to make a decision. France have called it off yesterday. The Eredivisie have called it off. But with respect, they're probably two of the lesser leagues in Europe. But I think when Spain or Italy make a decision, that's a different story.
Italy are on about reopening it, though, aren't they? They're on about starting that again, Italy behind closed doors. But we've spoken about this for the last 2 or 3 weeks, and what you've said is right. There's so much other nonsense going on. They can't possibly be sending ambulances, like we said last week on here, to football grounds in case some idiot breaks their leg. I don't know. We've spoken about it every week. We've just no idea what's going to happen here.
No. To me, the only way I heard rumours that there was a potential round robin setup going at St George's Park, which I think is a great idea for the Premier League.
That would solve the lockdown of the players issue, wouldn't it?
It would, because they've got the Hilton there. They've got a Hilton hotel there. They've got. I've been listening. I'll be honest. The drive to work and back was perfect to listen to the podcast. But ever since then, I've got a mile drive to work. But I listened to him since I've been going into work recently. And it's interesting to hear what Louis was saying. But I think there will be... If St George's Park has something in it, because you've got at least, 15 pitches there? It's massive. The standard of pitches are ridiculous. And you could just have effectively maybe one ambulance there, and that's controlling 10 pitches, and that's one round of games done in one position in an hour and a half, and it's finished and it's done. But that's still one ambulance that could be out doing something somewhere else. That's the way I see it. I just can't. If they do continue to do it, I can't see how the FA aren't going to get some kind of backlash from someone saying, this is bigger than football. I'm the biggest football fan there is, but even I think this is.
One thing I've completely overlooked, when I said last week that you don't need an ambulance there, you can just call an ambulance, that's still taken away NHS.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. So you're taking away resources,
which are already stretched.
But it's technically an unnecessary...
Yeah, I think the only way around it, like you're saying about United, if United were to play a game behind closed doors, there'd still be a lot of staff. The only way I can see it is if every club signed a contract with the FA or the Premier League to say that our club doctor takes on the responsibility of a paramedic for that game. That way, let's be honest, how many times does a footballer require hospital treatment?
It's very rare, but
it's very rare. But
it's going to happen.
If you have a doctor, with every Premier League ground, I guarantee will have basic facilities that a hospital will.
There's also the ones that you don't hear about. I mean, plenty of times when I was kit man, I can remember off the top of my head 4 or 5 times players going to hospital and it wasn't publicised.
When I was in hospital with sepsis that time 3 or 4 years ago, some idiot come in. Remember, I was banging about it on Facebook because I was so bored. Some clown of a footballer come in.
I'm just trying to think who that was, because
he was a young fella. He was a Scottish international, so I can't think who he was.
I know Matty Baudry did 2 seasons ago. I think it was. I know
that was in training right enough. He got taken right out.
Was he a player?
I was really pissed off because he was still in his kit.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
What was he? Did you say he was Scottish?
He wasn't Scottish, but he qualified to play for Scotland. He'd played for Scotland at some ridiculously low level, i.e. the first national team. That's about as low as it gets.
It wasn't Robbie Muirhead, was it?
No, I can't. It was like a kid. I can't think who it was. Anyway, that's just to play devil's advocate here, and I'm only saying this purely to instill some sort of debate. At the end of the day, we do need to start getting back to some relative normality here. I mean, this just can't continue, this, can it? We cannot keep being shut up all the time. We just can't do that, can we? I mean, there was people at the weekend complaining that B&Q had opened, whereas I was thinking, oh, that's good, we can get some, some paint for the decking now. You just think you cannot. I mean, I cannot be sat in my bloody kitchen reading a book, watching endless episodes of Better Call Saul. I mean, it just... we've got to get on with it. I mean, we just have. I mean, really, honestly, at the end of the day, we are going to have to start easing this, or... I mean, I don't know what will happen to the economy. It'll just go through the floor, won't it? We've got to start opening things.
I'm all right because I'm still working full time.
See, I'm not working. I mean, I'm on furlough.
I know the majority aren't working at all.
No.
Yeah.
I'm working full time and I'm still bored out of my mind. And in fact, I was actually having more fun because I booked 2 weeks off when after I was sent home, thinking that I was going to do lots of stuff around the house. Didn't happen.
I've done nothing. Well, no, that's wrong. I've done a load of stuff. But
I mean, I've done a bit here and there, but like I said last week, I've spent an inordinate amount of money on shite.
Still not bought anything. Not bought a thing.
I've not really. I've spent the whole time saving money because I'm not paying BT, I'm not paying Sky. But like I said, I don't feel particularly too bad because I've got a routine. I mean, it's only 9 till 3, but then I've got to take the post down to a local post office because Royal Mail have stopped collecting from the stadium. So I've got to do it all, frank it all, take a massive grey sack to a local post office. They ship it out, and then I go back and pick it up and send it all online. But so I don't feel as bad. I think next Thursday when they review it, I think it will be slightly relaxed to the point where we might be able to go between houses. I'd like to go back home for a couple of days.
That must be quite hard. I
think there might be family visits, but I like this idea of they're now being able to isolate certain parts of the country, aren't they, where there are still infections. So basically, if you live somewhere like I do, where pretty much no one is taking any notice of the rules and just seeing their neighbours and their families. I mean, the other day I'm pretty sure I saw at least 3 different households all stood together.
Yeah.
And one person had visitors from 4 different households. And so I've got I did hear something about this localised thing. So basically they can look at like a heat map of where the infections are and can say, right, that's where all the f***ing idiots live. As long as they don't leave their idiot estate, everybody will be all right, sort of thing. So, but if you do start letting people go to see other family members, well, it could all kick off again, couldn't it?
It could. And I'd rather take the time now. I mean, I was meant to go home for Easter with Ashley and do the formal meet of girlfriend and family and all that stuff. We've done it on Skype many a time, but we wanted to do it properly. But we're not going a mile down the road to see her mum, so we can't drive 200 down to home. So, but Ash is a hairdresser, so she'll be one of the first ones back when this is all finished. But I mean, the Bundesliga is starting again on the 8th of May, subject to German approval. Yeah.
What, behind closed doors?
Yep.
Yeah, but they've been really good. The Germans have been really good, haven't they?
Yeah, they've done well because
they've had the same amount of cases, but about a quarter of the amount of deaths. So typical Germany have done things well again. So, subject to German government approval, the Bundesliga is going to start again the 8th of May. But now, I mean, all the FAs have to submit their plans of what they want to do by the 25th of May to UEFA. So that's whether we're going to do it. The top division's going to play, but the others aren't, or they're all going to play this way, or we're not going to play at all. The UEFA have to be told by the 25th of May. So,
what about all these players that are going to be out of contract in 4 or 5 weeks' time?
Well, that's the big issue. I mean,
Colchester have already said, haven't they, that any players that are out of contract on the 1st of June are not going to be renewed.
Have they said that, really?
Yeah.
Well, there's a player, a Cambridge United player. Was it Cambridge United? Was it Newport? No, I think it was. Who was Cambridge? I can't remember. Might have been Barnet. A team that play in orange. I can't remember his name. He came out and said he did a picture. He posted a picture yesterday and said how much fun he had at his club, but unfortunately he's been told that his contract's been torn up effectively. But you know, Luton have got rid of their manager.
Colchester
doing
have got rid of 4 players yesterday.
Yeah,
They've told them they're not renewing their contracts and told them you're done now. So they're already thinking that the season's not going to restart.
I think maybe that's because I got a feeling that if you publicise it, people are going to criticise it. If you keep it a secret, people are going to say, "Why didn't you tell us?" So, but that's the other thing. I mean, if you're looking at the season starting on, let's say for argument's sake, they start the season in mid-July.
Yeah.
If there are, and I now believe there are going to be, after what Colchester have done, I do believe there are going to be a lot of clubs who won't have enough players to stick 11 players on the pitch. Or a competitive 11 anyway.
No, I think what they're looking at doing is extending the contracts by a month or two and doing it on a pro rata basis, obeying how much they paid, but then at the same time, that's fine for Championship and above. The clubs can afford it, but the lower sides will have their budget, which is how much you're going to spend until the 30th of June, until the end of the financial year's done, and that's it. They can't afford to pay anymore, especially behind closed doors.
Yeah.
So
obviously, some clubs will have already had, or as part of their budgets, they will have a certain amount of money throughout the financial year, but that will be missing the gate receipts, obviously, for casuals and food and drink and whatever. But I don't know. I mean, as John said,
I don't think
for 3 or 4 weeks now, and we're no closer to knowing really or anything.
I don't think stadiums will be full again until 2021.
Yeah, I think you're right. I said that last week. I'd be amazed if. I mean, we said it last week. Can you imagine 79,000 people in Old Trafford by September?
Exactly.
No chance.
In which case, then, do you think the rules will be relaxed, or you could have the option of, let's say, the restriction on 3 p.m. televised games will be lifted?
That's got to be lifted. That has to be lifted.
Yeah. So you'll have a choice. You'll either have your in-person season ticket, or you'll have your iFollow season ticket, perhaps.
Yeah.
That, I think, could be a possibility, because there's obviously going to be some people who just may not ever go to football again. People of a certain age, perhaps, who, they just concerned, because there are, we know this thing is, if people of a certain age get it, they're almost certainly going to die.
Yeah, it hits older people, doesn't it? I mean, that's why all this care home business.
Yesterday they said there were more people died last week than have been ever recorded, or since records started. More people have died in 1 week.
Oh, shit.
We've done really, really badly with this as a country. It's 26,000 people have died, haven't they? That's a lot of people.
Someone put a graphic up of the O2 full and said this would be the equivalent of everybody who was there that night watching whoever.
Yeah, that percentage had died.
Every single person in that arena is dead.
I wouldn't mind you if it had been Genesis they'd been watching, or something like that.
Hey, I like Genesis. My dad brought me up on Genesis.
Died.
Yeah, maybe if they just died, I wouldn't. That wouldn't worry me.
I mean, in the nicest way, John. I think you said it last week, and this is not in any way a bad comment about MK Dons, but you could. You could realistically social distance within that stadium.
Oh, we could at our stadium, yeah. I mean, the majority of lower league clubs could do it, couldn't they?
I would imagine that, thinking about the stadiums that are in League One and League Two, even the smaller ones could do it.
The majority of clubs could do it, couldn't they?
Yeah.
I think personally, this time next year, we'll be looking at. I think there's a high chance that the Euros that are now going to be next year will be reformatted now, because
they've said today that they're going to be in one country. That's what rather than all over Europe.
The idea behind it was, I suppose, good. I mean, I had tickets for it. I've got tickets for the last 16, but then I worked out it's going to be Italy against Ukraine, I think. So when I got offered the refund, I think I'm going to snap them off their hand. But I think there's going to be at least 8. I think at least 8 clubs can't continue. Surely not. I mean,
we've had an email about that, Tony, haven't we?
Sorry?
We've had an email this week from someone that's, he's bringing that up. Can you see it, Tone?
Yeah, well, I was on that subject. That it could also be that footballers who want to play football, and this is down to the clubs to do it, to turn the tables, so to speak, on the players and say, right, you can come and play for us, but we can only pay you £400 a week or something like that.
Yeah. I think that this is going to change player contracts forever now.
Absolutely.
It's going to be none of this bollocks where you
could reset the whole thing. That way, players are going to notice 10% or 15% of £400 a week disappearing much more than they are £400 from £4,000 a week.
Yeah,
good point.
Because
10%.
I think what they've got to do, they've got to lower the base rate, and then because at the moment you've got players playing for clubs and earning the same wage as someone who plays every week to someone who doesn't play whatsoever. So you need to have a base rate, and then you pay an appearance fee higher up, which would match what they pay normally. Because
we know I think we were talking to an ex-Dons player, weren't we? This isn't just exclusive to this player, but he was being paid a very small weekly wage, but he was getting £2,000 per appearance.
Yeah.
So some months he could earn, if they played Saturday, Tuesday, he could be
about 10 grand.
He could be walking away with 10, 15 grand or whatever. But if he didn't get on the pitch, he didn't get paid, basically. So that's another possibility. That would also encourage or discourage those sit on the bench and earn my money, can't be asked types as well. Yeah. So, it could be good. There could be good things about it. It could be bad things. If footballers want to play and they want to play for £400 a week, they will. If it means that, or going to work in the BP or the Gary or Tesco's, or then
or picking fruit. I've seen a lot of guys picking fruit today.
For £400 a week. Wouldn't you, John?
Say that again. Sorry.
I'd play professional football for £400 a week.
Yeah, would you? I'd be good at it as well.
What's that? About £1,600 a month. Yeah.
Take that for. I get all my food as well. So
you get food as well.
Well, I'm assuming it's the same at most clubs where they lunch together and. They're lunch together probably. That's probably about it. So.
Right, should we do these?
We are off again on a tangent, aren't we?
Yeah, should we do these emails then, Tom?
John, where'd you get that T-shirt from? Is that what I think it is?
It's a Union Jack T-shirt.
Yeah, whose is it? Is it?
It's mine.
No, not. What brand, you tart?
I don't know. Do you want me to find out?
Yeah, because I've got a feeling I know what it is.
I need to take it off now. It is. I don't know what that says. I don't know what that says, mate, to be quite honest. It's a nice one.
Stolen.
It's nice. I like that.
I'll put it back on there.
You promised us your MK Dons 11.
Yeah. Good one.
Right.
I'll be honest. I was doing a Disney puzzle before you called me, and I completely forgot. But I bet I can ring it off the top of my head. Bear in mind, I only started working for Dons in the Championship season, so I think there was another team given about the similar time bracket.
Oh my God! So you've got literally the shittest choice going.
Yeah, but I still think the team that I'm about to give could match a lot of people.
Yeah, go on then.
I put Nichols in goal.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it was you or someone else said that Martin had tipped Nichols to it because Martin's kicking was just so much better than Nichols. And I don't know what keeper they were watching, but I'm sorry. Unless Martin was kicking to Louis, his kicking wasn't as good as said, in my personal opinion. I think Nichols' distribution is far better, just my opinion. Cody Cropper can be on the bench.
We've always disagreed on that, I think, me and you.
Cropper's on the bench, near miss. Left back.
Sorry, I got a terrible cough.
Left back Louis, centre half. I would go with the first 4 months of Bailey Cargill. When we first got Cargill, he was unbelievable. But the last time I saw him was when I went to Rochdale earlier this season. I think he told someone in the stand to fuck off, which didn't help. But I think in terms of what I've seen, I think Walsh for stability and always being there. And I think from what I saw, the back end of JMT, I think you'd have to choose him as well, which was difficult. Centre mid, I would have to go with Potter. I was one season too late for Dele Alli, so it'd be Darren Potter and I think glimpse of Jordan Houghton.
Yeah, that's not bad.
That's a good call, eh?
I don't know why Tisdale stopped playing him, but I think I watched that BT documentary where Russell Martin talked so highly of him, and I agree. Probably because he's really good in my FM team as well. They won the league. But Jordan Houghton and Potter on the left. I didn't do a right back, did I? I did a right back. Callum Britton.
4 at the back. I assumed one of those.
Callum Britton right back. I put Callum Britton right back. Right mid, I'm going to go with Harvey Barnes.
Yeah,
good one, yeah.
I think I do remember him playing on the right quite a lot and cutting in. And then on the left is a difficult one. The left, I think I'm going to have to go with. I don't know. I'm going to come back to that one. Centre forwards would be Chucks and Reece Healy.
Yeah, that's a good team, Matt. I reckon.
I think.
Yeah.
On the left, I might go with Aaron Tishibola. If I remember him.
Really? Blimey.
No. I'm. That is a joke.
Yeah, I think
that is a joke.
I think you've chosen 11 outfield players there. You got 5. You got 5 at the back.
5 at the back? No, I've got.
No, he's got 4 at the back.
Louis, JMT, Walsh, and Britton at the back. Then I've got.
I thought you had JMT in there as well.
That's what I just said.
We did pick
Britton, JMT, Walsh, and Louis at the back.
That's 4, Tony. Count.
Oh, sorry. It was.
Harvey Barnes.
Bailey Cargill's not in there, no.
No, he's not. He's not.
Right.
Darren Potter.
He's on the bench beside Cody Cropper.
Yeah.
Who's on the bench? Ariebe would have been a very good player had Nielsen played him more. He scored against AFC. I'm sure he did. I think there's a really good picture of him celebrating in front of the fans. I think he now plays in Scotland, doesn't he? He plays for Motherwell, I think.
Is he? Oh dear.
But he was a very good player, but Nielsen just stopped playing him, and I've no idea why.
As well.
Kieran Agard, George Williams will be on the bench. Kieran Agard, Martin, obviously. Cropper will be on the bus waiting.
So you'd have George. You'd have Callum in front of George Williams for right back.
Yes.
That's a bold choice, that, Sam. I've got to be honest.
It is. Because that could have saved your left side problem. You could have gone George at right back and then Callum in front of him.
I was just about to say that because remember me and you had that debate quite a lot behind the bench, didn't we?
Yeah.
But we've had so many different players in the last, 5 years that I was thinking about it when you were doing the pod the other day. And for me, the easiest decision was the goalkeeper and left back. Apart from that, there are so many people. I said about Harvey Barnes, I was happy that a couple of other people said Harvey Barnes because I thought he was just, you could tell from a mile off. I didn't think he'd go straight into the Leicester team like he has. But he was different level. But there have been loads of players that we've had and haven't worked out well and gone somewhere else and done better there and vice versa. They've come here and left. I'm surprised that Reece Healy came back. I'm very happy he did, mind.
Yeah, I thought that we'd get who's the lad that went to Wickham?
Wheeler.
Yeah, I thought we'd like Wheeler ahead of Wickham. I don't know what happened there. I can't imagine they were offering huge amounts of money.
We offered them a 1-year deal. They offered them I think either a 2 or a 3 year. I think that's what swung it. That was the rumour.
That's probably what it was then. So
I'll tell you what. I'll take that. David Williams playing on the left. Purely because he gave me one of my happiest moments in football when he scored that game that against Mansfield.
Yeah.
Just for that goal, he's in the team for me.
It was good.
Honestly, that was one of the because I think you did a what's your favourite Dons game or something, or that will go down as honestly one of my best football moments I've ever experienced. That.
Do you know that's weird? Because for me, and I think John as well, maybe to a lesser extent, but still the same. That was a bit of a. It's nice to get promoted. Don't get me wrong, and the players absolutely loved it. And a good night was had by all, wasn't it? Afterwards, but I don't know. It just felt like, yeah. So what? We should have done that anyway, sort of thing, you know. So
yeah.
But there you go. What are you going to do?
But yeah.
Shall I go to the check these emails in,
Go
John?
to the emails then, yeah.
Mate, I can't remember if we're allowed to say his full name or not again now, can you?
Just call him Thorny.
All right, we'll call him Matthew X.
Right, okay.
No, Mr. Thorne.
I can't. Was he the one that didn't want his name right out? Oh, well. Sorry, mate.
Jed, firstly, I hope you and yours are keeping safe and well. Thanks again for carrying on with the podcast. A few questions on different topics coming up. Apologies if they're long and tedious, but I imagine you're struggling for podcast ideas at the moment.
Well,
Had you noticed? If the questions are shite and boring, just skim over them with the quick answers and move on. Firstly, with the prospect of the season being played behind closed doors, it got me looking into the table and remaining fixtures. Say Tranmere win their game in hand. Remember, they had a decent run before they were postponed. The table would look like this. Us on 37 in 18th, Rochdale 36, 19th, AFC 35, Tranmere 35. AFC got a better goal difference. Now, what's interesting here
Go on.
is that if this went on points per game, Tranmere and AFC, this is assuming Tranmere had won their game in hand, Tranmere and AFC would have exactly the same points per game. What do we think would happen there? Would that be go head-to-head, or would it be goal
difference, surely?
It'd have to be head-to-head, surely. I think that's the best way for it. I think if you stopped it now and you go on a points per game ratio, unless I'm being really thick, is that not the fairest way to do it? Because if you've got a team, League One's going to be the most hits because you've got a team that's been taken out of it. So you're going to have more people all over the shop.
You could say yes, it would be fair, but that could mean, and I haven't looked into this, it could mean that Tranmere stay up and AFC go down instead.
That would be fair, Tone. That would be very fair indeed.
I'm not arguing. Anyway, we're getting away from his email. So he says, I haven't checked anyone's fixtures, but considering there are still roughly 10 games left, I imagine everyone has a similar run in terms of difficulty, though Tranmere have an interesting run where they play Rochdale, AFC and us 3 in a row. So how worried are we about the prospect of relegation? I think we've answered this.
That's a difficult question because we're not going to come back playing the way we did back in March, are we? No chance,
Yeah, based on what we were doing before this, we were going to be fine.
I'll answer it in two questions, like in two ways. Then, if we carried on sort of the way we were playing, I think we would have been better than fine. But if it starts again, more or less, with like
you were flying,
we're like a pre-season friendly, and then you're back into playing. You have no idea how we're going to be. Have you no idea at all?
I think you would have been fine.
We would have been fine. We were
on the outside looking in.
We'd have definitely been fine before this. So
we were convinced we would be all right.
It depends how team. If the season does start again, depends how team treat this 3 to 5 week training period and who's the fittest, really. Thoughts on Winkelmann now owning MKFM, and do you think it's any way controversial? No.
Yes.
How would it be controversial?
I think it is a bit controversial, to be quite honest. I'd forgotten all about that till I read that email this afternoon. There's a conflict of interest there.
I didn't realise he owns it. I knew that MKFM had moved into, wherever it is now. Since I've been back there, it's all bloody changed. But I didn't know he actually owns it now.
You don't think there's a conflict of interest there, Tony?
Hey?
There's a conflict of interest, surely. It's like Man United TV, isn't it? Really, in a way, you think about it.
It is MKFM, so
I ain't bothered. Maybe we could get a gig there. To be quite honest, I'd be happy with that.
I suppose then, if you wanted to find,
I'm free Wednesday nights, Ton.
Yeah, if you wanted to find controversy there, you could probably find it.
Could do. It is a bit.
I don't see anything wrong with it.
No,
Personally,
he don't at all. Pete mentioned that he's had 2 serious offers for the club in recent years, with him saying he would have sold to one had it not fallen through. As it's clear we need financial investment to be a consistent championship club, how would you be willing to sacrifice in order to bring in further financial investment, e.g., and this is some of the suggestions, we'll take them one at a time.
Go!
Drop the Dons.
Not a problem for me. Call ourselves whatever we want. We've had this discussion
that does
before.
not solve anything.
What if it was a drop the Dons because it was a name change, i.e., the FA or EFL caved in and Red Bull bought us and we had to change it?
Let's be honest, they would never allow it. They would never allow that. The Football League would not allow.
If someone came in and said you've got here's £500 million and you got to change your name to just Milton Keynes.
Red Bull, Milton Keynes, I'd be up for that.
500 million quid, drop the Dons.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I'd drop the Dons for £5.
I just think I think as long as the price tag's all right. I mean, the only thing is, I feel that would happen if MK changes their name, it would be considered that you've got your history cut in half. It's almost like you're starting again. In my opinion, it's like you're starting the brand again.
We can't win and we can't lose with this.
No.
You know, if we change our name, you know, people will go, there they go, they've changed their name again. If we don't change their name, you've got all those morons down in SW19, you know, banging on about it. You can't win with them, you know. I don't care, call us what they like. I like MK Dons. It rolls off the tongue quite easily, but, you know, if someone wanted to come and call us, you know, Red Bull Mountain Keynes, that wouldn't the least bit concern me. And we've said it before, Tony, we have said it before. We'd be hypocrites if we were to, you know, especially this club, if we were to make a big deal about changing our name, you know, let's be honest, you know. I ain't bothered, call us what they like. It's not a problem for me.
I mean, I'll tell you what, we'll leave that because we could go on for hours.
We could do.
We'll leave.
That's next week's podcast.
I don't give a shit. I only care for Wigan now anyway.
Stadium name change is not going to be an issue for anyone, I don't think.
Well, I thought so.
No.
I can't be that.
I don't even think anybody has ever used its official name. I think it's still officially the Denby Stadium, isn't it, or something?
Denby North.
I thought it was just Stadium MK, me.
No, that was made up, wasn't it?
They made that up, yeah.
I thought it was Denby North.
It's something like that. It's Denby North Stadium or Denby Stadium. Anyway, no one's got to do with changing the name for a big bag of cash. What about mass board / director changes?
No, I would be unhappy with that.
I don't see why break something that's.
Yeah.
Why fix something that's not broken. In my opinion, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think Andy Cullen's one of the best chief executives in the country.
Yeah, I would have thought so.
Yeah.
I'd have a problem with that.
Tempting him away just as he was about to be made chief executive at Norwich, replacing.
Neil Doncaster. Was it Neil Doncaster? No, he was after.
I can't remember, but yeah, he walked away from Norwich when he was just about to be made chief exec. And they're now in the Premiership to come and work for us. I've never worked for anyone like Andy Cullen, who's been, I don't know, he's just everything. The way I like the way he works. He's
very hands-on.
Commercial knowledge. His nous is excellent, but at the same time, also consider. He'll listen to anything, basically.
He was very good when I was on the MKDSA. I mean, when he turned up to those meetings, he was good. I mean, he was listening. I mean, we've spoken about it before, that other moron that turned up and kept looking at his watch all the time, but Andy Cullen wasn't like that. He was good. No, I'd have a problem with that. I would have a problem with that, I must admit. I'd have a problem with changing the board.
There's a few people there, aside from Andy Cullen, people like Sue Dawson, who are like really the soul of the club, have been there.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for Sue Dawson, I dread to think where the club would be, if there even would be a club to a certain extent. But
there certainly wouldn't be any concerts.
No. So
well, actually, I'll take that back. But who knows?
Actually, there weren't any until other people started turning up. But anyway, I think that would be quite a contentious issue for quite a lot of people, I think. So
it would be.
then going back to what his original question was, because I managed to miss two of the questions out, how damaging would it be, considering the financial impact of COVID, if we were to be relegated for third time in 5 years? I dread to think, really.
Yeah, I do. I think that would do us, to be quite honest. I really do. I think we would be in serious trouble then, especially the way things are going at the minute.
I think he would then sell. I think if Dons were to go down again in the next 3 years back to League Two, I think Pete would be like, right,
You want to buy?
Yeah. I think you look at it for the thing is Pete's background is in music, and now he's got the hotel, which brings in the most money, I believe, and now he's got music cemented into the stadium. I think now he'd probably be. I don't. This is only speaking from my opinion. I don't actually know anything. I think he would be more willing now. Not saying, but it'd be slightly less painful to get the stadium going because he's got the music, and he's got other things to focus on and make him money. Because let's be honest, the football club is being held up by the hotel and the arena and the music now. So I don't know.
He could walk away with on his own terms, I suppose. But
he could walk away and he could have everyone's good wishes if he did.
Very bad for us, yeah. So
it would be appalling for us. I genuinely, honestly think that would be the death knell for us if we get relegated again. Yeah. Especially with what's happening at the minute. But that's not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen somewhere, one way or another, whether we start again or not. Email from John Samuel.
It's a long one, this.
He's actually made up a word here.
He has made up a word, and I'm glad you spotted it, Tone.
It's a great word.
That is, but it's not what he means.
It could almost be a word, couldn't it?
It's nearly a word, Tony.
John's email is entitled Rememberable Match.
Oh, there's then two made-up words then, Tony. There's another made-up word further on.
Memorable match, Bradford away, League One, 8th of February 2005.
Read the whole thing. It's like a small story, Tony. Yeah. It's a short story.
So this is the. Well, I'll just read the whole thing then. So
before you start, this is what we were going to do. We're going to tonight. We're going to do, like something rememberable matches, but we've decided to just do something else instead.
Yeah. All right. So John says, thought I'd give my penny worth and contribute to the show by sharing an experience I had. Attended a midweek match at Bradford away back on the 8th February 2005. I travelled across to Bradford on my own as I was working in the northwest at the time. Left my hotel really early as I wasn't sure what traffic would be like. And as it happens, it was a breeze and I arrived at the ground about 6 p.m. and it was deserted. Wandered around the ground to kill time when I bumped into our manager, Danny Wilson, who was on his own, as he'd probably travelled to the game alone rather than from MK on the team coach, as I believe he lived in the Yorkshire area. When he saw me standing near the front of the players' lounge, he recognised me and invited me inside. He bought me a drink and some food, which he insisted on paying for. I had my Don's top on, and when Bradford fans turned up, I was given some strange looks, standing at the bar in their players' lounge, drinking with Danny Wilson. He's such a nice guy, and we had a great chat. He mentioned that we were in for a tough time, but had nothing to lose, and he was going to attack rather than sit back and try and nick a point. We were rooted in the relegation spot at the time, and Bradford were just outside the playoffs. We had a good 3/4 to an hour chat before he left to meet up with the players as the coach had arrived.
Is this a question?
What?
It's a short story, Sam. It goes on a bit, I'll be honest.
We had to think about your favourite games, and this is John's most rememberable game. Bradford were riding high in Division 1, and we weren't given much of a prayer by anyone. They also had striker Dean Windass, who would go on to finish top scorer that season with 27 goals. The game started cagey with Bradford pressing high from the off. They didn't create much though, and on the 32nd minute, Wayne Small went on a maze run outside.
That's the made-up word, Tony.
Outside.
That's the made-up word. That is not a word.
What's that?
Mazzy's put Mazzy run. That's not how you spell that.
Mazy.
That's not how you
Maze
spelled
run.
it though. Maze run he's put.
Has he got any?
He spelled it M-A-Z-Y. I don't know.
Wrong.
He got lost somewhere.
All right, so Marzi run out wide, got inside the box and scored a cracking goal against a runner play. The 100 or so Dons fans went wild and to cap it off. Ours McLeod made it 2-0 before half time. It was unbelievable to be 2-0 up at half-time. Second half, we expected a bit of backlash, and Julie came when Windass scored on 50 minutes. Surely we couldn't hold on with almost half the match still to go. Then, remarkably, 5 minutes later, we caught them on the counter with 2 goals in 2 minutes from McLeod and then Ben Harding. I was in dreamland 4-1 up against Ben Harding. I was in dreamland 4-1 up against a high-flying Bradford away from home. What a night, what a result. Totally unexpected, although thoroughly deserved with the way we played and attacked them. It's definitely a match I'll never forget and still lives in my memory as one of my favourite Dollars games of all times. And those 3 points in Bradford added to the tally that helped us stay up in that dramatic last game of the season win against Tranmere when Edsy scored that famous strike. Sorry it's long, and hope you can manage to read it all out. Yes, John, it's one of our more memorable emails.
I really wish at the end of that he just finished it with, anyway, long story short.
Yeah. TLDR, we won.
Mine's quite easy. My memorable one is Mansfield. That's it. Mansfield 1-0. Yeah. Had to win. We did. Mansfield and Leeds, because Leeds was my first ever working game for Dons, and I was thrown in the ticket counter and I had to refuse 2 people entry, and that was my first ever working game in football, was against bloody Leeds at home.
What did we do after the Mansfield game?
I don't know what I did for about 3 days, to be completely honest. I just went on a bender.
I remember going up to the directors' lounge, but I don't remember what we did after.
We went up to direct. I was in the directors' lounge with like the media lads and the players and all that. And then I had a hotel room booked in Hilton.
You did, because you were going on holiday, weren't you?
Yeah, if Dons didn't win, I could go on holiday with my family on the Monday.
Yeah, I remember.
Because I'd have to stay for the playoffs, and obviously I was moving to Wigan 2 weeks after it. So that was the last family holiday I was going to have for a long time.
I remember you were shitting yourself that we didn't get promoted.
All my family came. My mum, my sisters, they all came to the game. But we scored in the first minute, and I thought it's way too early. It's too early. Yeah. But I went up to the directors after, I had a beer. But then I remembered I had to go and lock the shop. I had to go and shut the shop. So I went down after having literally only like 2 bottles. I had to go down to the shop. And as I was there was a young lad knocking on the door. So I had to let him in so he can come and buy a ball. And by the time I got from the door round to the till, I looked up and there was about 30 people in the shop. Everyone just poured in. So I was there serving people with a can, drinking, and everyone was in such a good mood. So I did like a match day normal amount in about an hour after the game. Finished that, went upstairs to the hotel room, got changed, and then
I don't remember where we went after that, but
I don't actually know where we. I think I had a few people in my room.
If we can't remember, so. And then
we went. I do remember being in Missoula with a lot of them, and then Sunday we woke up horrendously hungover. Then it was the Player of the Year Awards. We had to dress up and go to the Player of the Year Awards on the Sunday.
God, that's why I went home. I went home at a reasonable time. I think I was in for about...
We had to see the Player of the Year Awards on the Sunday, and then we ended up in Pinks until 3 in the morning. And then I woke up first thing in the morning. And had to drive home, shower, get changed, pack a bag, get to Luton Airport, and fly to Mallorca. And it was the worst flight ever. Then I landed in Mallorca, met my family there, and then my sister, her now fiance, and my younger sister thought it was a great idea to go on the strip in Magaluf. I was broken. But I was absolutely. But it was worth it.
Oh, happy days. So, John, I got this thing here.
What thing?
Well, now no one emailed in with any ideas of stuff to chat about.
No, just those 2.
And as we've definitely run out of football things.
We have.
We have definitely run out of football things. So I've got things that you've forgotten that were on the internet.
Go on.
Right, and I want to try a few of these out. And Sam, when you were born, 95, 6? 94. 1994. So you will almost certainly remember most of these or have a recollection of them, right? So this is just the ones off the top of my head. So on top of my list is iTunes, which I genuinely haven't used in about 20 years. But it's still going, isn't it?
That is still going, yeah.
Well, no, I thought that was the point of Apple Music. I thought that overtook iTunes.
Oh, has it changed? I don't know, mate. Quite honest, I don't use it.
I don't know. I used to use iTunes. I used to get iTunes vouchers for Christmas and get my 79p songs, but
yeah.
Now it's...
There you go. There's your. There's one, iTunes. Right, now this one, Sam, I think you might just have been old enough, but MSN Messenger.
Oh, come on. I used to love MSN. with my little clip-on webcam on the top of my computer. I used to love it.
I've got one, Tone. I don't know if it's on your list.
Yeah.
Dial-up modems. Remember that?
Dial-up modems, yeah. Well, that sort of ties in with my next one, which is torrenting.
Torrents.
Illegal download.
Yeah,
so
LimeWire.
Yeah, where it would take about 35 minutes to download a single MP3.
Yeah.
The forerunner to Facebook, Friends Reunited.
Friends Reunited. Remember that? Good grief! You remember that, Sam? Were you old enough for that?
Friends Reunited.
You don't know what that is?
I remember it. I mean, I do remember being on MySpace a lot.
Oh, MySpace, yes.
I was on MySpace, and I remember that the talk of my school at the time was who is in your top 8 friends. If you weren't in there, then fucking carnage. But and then I matured into Facebook, and then I binned off MySpace. Never did Bebo. I'm afraid I never did Bebo.
Oh, Bebo, yeah, my kids did. My kids did Bebo.
I evolutionised from MSN to BBM Messenger on my old BlackBerry.
Yeah, that was a thing for a while, wasn't it? Yeah,
it wasn't a big thing.
Facebook, like I said, never did Bebo. Was it? There was something hotel.
Penguin.
Habbo Hotel.
Oh.
Habbo Hotel. I never did it, but
yeah, that
was massive.
I think my kids did that as well.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, so I've gone through now I'm on things like LinkedIn and all the boring stuff.
If you've on your Twitter, if you're not following them, follow State of LinkedIn.
No, I only know what they do based on your retweets and everyone.
Yeah, I love that. I love because the people on there are so fucking smug.
The way I see it is, I read your tweets and imagine you sat exactly as you are now with your hood up in a dark room reading it going...
That didn't fucking happen, you lying bastard.
Speaking of it, liars, Tone.
I was in Starbucks today and I thought, no, you fucking weren't. I got up at 4 a.m. I went for a 15-mile run. I walked the dogs. I got the kids out of bed. I made them breakfast. I took them to school. I was in the office for 8 a.m. Bollocks, mate. You got out of bed at 5 to fucking 8. You threw the kids in the car. Gave them a single piece of bread each. Anyway. Talking of darkened rooms, okay, Google, turn the bedroom light on. And this, last on my list is making your own website.
I remember that.
I've done that a few times.
I've tried to make us one 3 or 4 times. I've got one on the go, Tone.
Because I don't remember anybody else doing this, and I haven't asked anybody else. So it's interesting that you two straight away say that. So basically, are you same as me? This is a website you made on FreeServe or something like that. So it would be called like Tony Hawkins.
No, not that. I've done one for this podcast and for the other podcast we had. I've got one on the go. I've had it on the go for about a year and a half, but I've never got round to finishing it. I don't see the point, really, when we've got all those Facebook groups. I think it's just easier to use that, to be quite honest. I could do it if you want.
Yes,
well,
you're
I built 2 retail online stores for Dons, and then I've built the one I've got up here now. But in terms of,
talking about a website which was just literally you.
Oh, yeah, no
one else was ever going to see it.
Someone that we know, Tony, has done that this very week. Someone we both know has done it this week.
Really?
Yeah, Google michaelgurner.com.
He hasn't.
He has. And you know what he's doing? Poetry.
Oh, yes. No, I did read. I did see that he was doing something with poetry. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's like poetry and all sorts of things. He's had a load of websites, and his argument is that every website that he's had has basically been him but they've all been under different names. So his argument is that he's going to do one that's purely for his name. Everyone Google it. MichaelGurner.com.
Anybody who knows him will know those websites with
They
him.
will do, yeah.
I'm going to have to get going because my dinner's off.
Okay, well, see you later, Sam. We're going to slag someone off now anyway.
Thanks for joining us. We'll give you a shout in a few weeks maybe and see...
Well, as soon as this is all done, I'm hoping that I might be down in the weeks after that. But again, whether we'll be able to see each other is a different matter. But anyway, pleasure. I'll speak to you all soon.
What's Sam? See you later.
I should remind myself actually to mention that I'm doing a radio interview on Saturday.
Are you where?
At 3:00 on Rossendale FM, no less.
It's Rossendale FM.
So, long story short, the chap who does the sports show on a Saturday on Rossendale FM, which is up somewhere in the Rossendale Valley area,
where's that?
Is actually a diehard Dons fan who lived here for many years. He's from that part of the world.
Oh, right.
He lived here for a while. Now he's back there. He comes to games every so often, and he does a sports show on a Saturday. He's asked me to go on Saturday afternoon at 3:00. So if you happen to have nothing to do at 3 p.m. on Saturday afternoon, I should be on around about that time. Rossendale FM, ROSSENDALE.
Oh, pardon me.
Google it, and you can listen online if you want to. He mentioned what we were going to be talking about, being the usual stuff, talking about the Dons, life as Kitman,
get this podcast publicised, Tom,
etc. Yeah, so
mention this podcast, Tom.
It must be a bit weird listening to this chap's. His name's Steve. Steve's radio show every Saturday, and all he talks about is MK Dons. Yet he lives up near Greater Manchester area, so that must be a bit odd.
Well, I think that we'll call it a day, Tone, because that's been an hour of nonsense. We've done well. We always fill an hour, Tone. I'm always surprised.
We spoke about nothing for an hour, so...
What I'm thinking, that next week might be the last one for a little while, because that would have been the last one anyway, wouldn't it, I think?
The 3rd of May, we would have done one next Wednesday, wouldn't we, after the... Sundays? Was it Sunday?
It would have been Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sunday would have been Ipswich away, the last game of the season. Pretty sure we wouldn't have been the playoffs.
No.
So, we would have... Yeah, next week would have been our last one. And then maybe after that, perhaps we do every 2 weeks or 3 weeks or I don't know.
We'll keep going until we find out what's happening. But I think next week's going to be the last one, the last kind of regular one. Because basically we'll be honest, we are really struggling to fill this week, I got to be honest, which is why it's been a bit of a ramble really. So, but next week,
if you've got things that you used to use from the internet all the time and you thought were going to be in your life forever, like MSN Messenger, drop us a line and let us know what your forgotten internet things are, because there's probably a lot more than you think, actually.
So what we're going to do next week is just basically, close off like as far as we can go with what's happened, really. We'll be a bit further on next week because, well, we won't be, will we? Because we still want to fit it. We'll do it before Thursday, because Thursday's the next... That's when they're going to announce what's happening with this bloody furloughing scheme, isn't it? And the lockdown is next Thursday, so we won't be any further on, really, to be quite honest. We might be a bit further on, so what can you do?
Exactly.
So there you go.
So that's us then till next week, which could be the last one for a while, but either way, we will see you next week.
Yep, we will. So we'll see you later, and if you would really, really, really want you to send some stuff in, because I'll be honest, I'm real struggling. But next week, without a doubt, will be the last of the regular podcasts for a little while. Right, see you next week.
Yeah, in fact, assume it is going to be the last one, and if you've never written to us before or sent us an email before, send one anyway, even if it's just to say hello. mkdonsradioshow@gmail.com.
It's not going to be the last ever podcast, but it'll be the last regular one of this season. So we'll see you next week anyway. Oh, what?
I found...
Oh, go on.
I found... Wait for it.
Do it.
For it. I found on my... Almost by accident, actually. I think it's 10 episodes of the MK Dons cast. That was
Have
us,
you
wasn't
really? Excellent.
I found episode 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 episodes.
I'll be honest with you, Tom, no one wants to hear that.
No one wants to hear that.
Not even me, and I'm on it.
And I found 5 episodes of the old radio show as well.
Well, if you're interested, I'll put them up for anyone that's a masochist. Right.
I'll have a listen to a couple of them. If I think they're worth it, we'll put them up, yeah.
We will see you next week, but like I say, it's probably going to be the last one for a little while. So, see you next week. Bye.
Yeah. Ta-da.